we got, Ev? It looks like 16 or something like that.
Should be like 20 there.
Oh, yeah, I can't do math. That's 20.
Yeah.
20.
Cool. All
I was
right,
like,
let's
5
kick
times
it off.
5.
Okay, so... All right. Evening there, everyone. You're on the link to the list review for MEGT, MEGT, that's Middle-earth Grand Tournament 2019, happening 2 weeks' time in August. Welcome. Tonight we're going to go through the lists and share it with you, what's coming to the event. So joining me quick introduction to myself, I'm Evan Dennett, and I'm the event coordinator for the event. Joining me tonight for the list review, we have Pat Matrega and Lachie Keane.
Hey, guys.
So if you guys want to just do a quick intro to yourselves. Pat, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So Pat Matrega, been playing around the Queensland circuit for a couple of years now. Took out first the last tournament, and I like to bring a bit more competitive lists over the last kind of year or so. I've always enjoyed playing kind of Eagles and more kind of fluffy things back in the past, but with the new rules coming out, I'm definitely here to get my dice dirty. So yeah, hopefully I can share some good critique with you all.
Very nice. And of course, we mustn't forget that Pat's obsessed with Radagast and is a huge Radagast whore in the previous years. Hi, guys. I'm Lachie. I'm the Queensland League coordinator, and I've been playing in the Queensland circuit for a couple of years and been playing Middle-earth SPG since, launch in 2001 or something. We've got a pretty awesome event coming up in a couple of weeks, and it looks like we're going to have some really cool lists. So let's dive into them.
Every day we get to do 1,000 points.
Yes, yeah, exactly. 1,000 points.
Yeah.
This is our biggest event on the calendar in terms of size. So it's nice to see that, I reckon maybe we'll see Balrogs or Saurons or Mumakils, maybe those big units that we don't get to see all the time. So, exciting times.
Yeah, it should be a good time. It's a good chance to, as you say, just throw in some weird and wonderful stuff, take some extra stuff that we don't see, and double up on a few things. All right, so the link to the Dropbox has worked there, fellas.
Yes,
is that right?
I've got the list up in front of me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Are they all in alphabetical order?
I think they are. Yeah, I've got Campbell sitting up first, Mr. Campbell Bartlett.
Fantastic. All right, so we'll kick things off with him. All right, so we'll take a list each. We'll cycle through and we'll read through it, and then we'll just have a quick brief.
Sounds good.
So Campbell's list: Campbell's Bloody Skull Reavers, Corsairs of Umbar. Okay, so Warband 1, he's got Dalamir, Fleetmaster of Umbar, as his general. Joining him is some Black Numenorians with Warhorn, 11 of. 6 Corsairs of Umbar have spears. Now, Warband number 2, Captain, which is Delgamar, Gatemaster of Umbar. Joining him is 5 Corsairs of Umbar with shield and another 5 spear. Quite a cool, nice, tidy unit there. Number 3, Corsair Captain with crossbow. Joining him are 12 Corsairs, Albasters.
Big gun line there.
Yeah,
impressive.
Scary.
Very, because they've got those. They've got crossbows too,
Yeah,
I believe.
The big juicy crossbows, and that's not the end of the gun line either, as we see in the next warband.
Oh well, I've just scrolled down, and there's pretty much a duplicate of that. So pretty much 2 units of captains with 11 to 12 crossbows. Oh,
Ouch, ouch, ouch.
yeah. Then we've got a supporting unit behind that, a captain leading Corsairs of Umbar with shield, 5 of, and 5 spears, and a cheeky Reavers chucked in there. Final warband, Corsair Bosun with a spear, and he's leading 7 Corsairs of Umbar, 4 of which have a shield, 3 of which have a spear. So nice tidy army there, very thematic.
Let's theme the action there.
Yeah. I think the first thing that jumps out immediately is the 74 models.
Yeah, it's huge.
That's terrifying.
It's massive.
Especially when we touched on, obviously, the gun line they have with the crossbows. But I think what else is really, really, really scary is that all the Corsairs have throwing weapons.
Yep.
And they can't be forgotten either. So that is a lot of shots every single
that's
turn,
a big
which is
range
really
power.
scary to deal with.
Yeah, particularly
Mm.
against like low movement armies, like coming up obviously against major infantry dominated armies and dwarves and hobbits, which we'll probably see with the release of Scouring of the Shire. Cav armies obviously have a bit of an advantage that they can try and mitigate those throwing weapons, managing their charges effectively. But yeah, what is it? 24 or 23 crossbows plus the crossbows on the heroes and throwing weapons. It's insane. But everything is soft as shit. We're looking at like defense 3, defense 4, except for the arbalests with shields. So you can kill them, but there's a lot of them.
Stiff breeze would definitely roll through it. I think one of the other things that kind of jumps out to me as well is that not a lot of strike in the army.
Yeah.
Touching on what you're saying with the big things, Balrogs, Saurons, things like that. I'm sure if one of those things puts on the table, it can shoot a lot of pins at it, but I don't think it's got the ground to maybe reach for it in a fight. Dalamir is amazing. I love Dalamir. His smoke bombs get up to some awesome shenanigans. I think it's a well put together list. It'll be super fun to play, and hopefully super fun to play against.
It's important for Cambo as well because he's currently sitting in third place, I think, or second place on the league ladder. So he's looking for a strong performance this tournament to try and unseat Ori and make sure he stays ahead of Pat here, our man. So it's going to be a tight little spot for him there. Good list and should be good at the tournament.
Oh, absolutely! Like I'm keen to see it in the flesh. I can visualize how it looks. As I say, very thematic, looks very tidy, and with all those shots behind it, it should do well, you know?
Yeah, it is a big list.
I think the other thing that I really like, which I only just noticed then, is that one of the Numenorians has a Warhorn.
True.
You don't normally get to see a lot of the Warhorn stuff come through, but at 1,000 points, I'm kind of curious to find out how many people are going to bring one. I think it's great, and I think that does help kind of tie up some of the kind of low courage issues that high model count armies typically have.
Particularly with like we're seeing a lot of terror in the meta at the moment, with which kind of segues conveniently into our second list as we have a look at Daniel Thomas's Army of the Dead, Legendary Legion, and we're going to see a lot of that, I think. Army of the Dead plus things like Balrogs and big hard-hitting terror-causing units. Shall we jump into list number 2, guys?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, seeing as how you've touched on it, Lachie, would you like to take a say?
No problem. All right, Dan Thomas is bringing the wonderful Legendary Legion. So obviously he's got the King of the Dead at 100 points, and then Aragorn and Legolas as his 2 Three Hunters heroes. He's chosen to omit Gimli, which is interesting, at 1,000 points, but he also has a Herald of the Dead, which is the kind of new second-tier Army of the Dead hero that we saw come out with Gondor at War. And then he's got just a big contingent of Warriors of the Dead, a block of 10, a block of 10, and a block of 11, obviously sitting with the King, Aragorn, and Legolas. And then he's got 4 Riders of the Dead as well, which are super important for army composition. We always see 4 Riders in about 800 points. I probably would have liked to maybe see 5 or potentially 6 at 1,000 points because they're so useful for objective capture, because obviously it's a big infantry block, so they're the only kind of high movement element, apart from Aragorn's free heroic marches.
I want to definitely touch on the point that opting not to bring Gimli.
Yeah.
I actually don't like Gimli in the Army of the Dead list. I think for taking Gimli, I would rather just bring, 7, 8, 10 more Warriors of the Dead, because it is inherently a pretty low model count army, and having the extra might's really good, but I think he's just another beat stick with high defense, and I feel like the army has a lot of that as is. Legolas, I think he feels something the army doesn't have.
Definitely.
Which is, being able to shoot out banners, shoot out horses on heroes. He's great. You have to bring Aragorn. Obviously, the King of the Dead's incredible as well. I've had a lot of discussions with people about it, and I've never really liked Gimli in this list, and it's not just because of my normal aversion to dwarves in general. I just don't find he really has like a place in the army. Thematically, of course, but
for sure.
Yeah,
the thing that always hurts me, and this conversation came up a little bit when chatting with the guys from Failed Charge Games reviewing another similar list, is I fucking hate Aragorn without a horse. It kills me.
Yeah,
like
it does.
The heroic combat slingshots off that 3-pointer might with 10 inches of move is so missed in this list, and it is a strong legendary legion. We saw heaps of it. I mean, this list, not this exact formation, but at Throne of Skulls, Damien O'Byrne took out the title with this particular legendary legion, so it's definitely a strong list. But free Anduril, like, it's awesome, and obviously the banner for spirits. But man, Aragorn, I hate him without a horse. It hurts me, but yeah, Legolas is important. The Herald of the Dead, I can't even remember what his profile is. He's so new. Let me just grab the Gondor Warbook.
Yeah, so from memory, you can use his the King of the Dead can use his will to it's either call like heroic moves or something, or use it to resist spells.
Yeah, that's right.
I think it's like a little bubble with resistance to magic.
Yeah, here we go.
Units, something like that.
He can use the Herald's will points to declare heroic actions instead of spending one of his own might points, and he also benefits from the same special rule, the living special rule, Dead of the Living. So pretty lethal, and he's got 3 will points, 2 fate, 2 wounds, D7, 2 attacks. So yeah, he's pretty handy, and he also gives a little 3-inch buff of resistant to magic to the army as well, which could be kind of useful, keeping him close to like Aragorn and stuff, I guess, potentially if we see some high magic armies.
Yeah, I feel like there's only one real drawback with it, and that it doesn't have a model yet. And
yeah, that's true.
I think you can make some awesome stuff with it. I've seen some really cool conversions, but I want to see an official model for the Herald of the Dead.
Yeah, hopefully.
That would be nice.
I wonder if they go because obviously they just brought back out the Banner of the Dead model. I wonder if they're intending people to use that as the Herald representing the pennant, or if they're going to bring out a separate one. I'd love to see a separate one. More models is good.
Yeah.
Cool, nice work, Daniel.
Oh, cool. Yeah, there's not much more I can add to that. Pat, you took pretty much most of my points. So that's great. That's great. That's what I love about a list like that. It's just it's just so
tidy.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
Before we move on though, two quick things. Thoughts about not including a banner for scoring in the list?
Does the Herald of the Dead's pennant count as a banner in war gear?
I'm not sure actually.
Let's have
if it does, awesome.
Yeah, because otherwise the lack of banner is
obviously
a very
Aragorn counts as a banner, but obviously scoring the VPs are going to be so important, especially with 1,000 points. You got a lot of wiggle room with it. So I'm curious to find out if it does actually count as a banner.
Interesting. So his war gear is listed as armor, sword, and pennant of the dead, but it doesn't actually describe the pennant of the dead as a banner. So no, I don't think it does count as a banner for scoring.
Under the rules for Pennant of the Dead, though, does it have a subsection that counts as banner?
No, it literally just says friendly spirit models within 3 inches of the Pennant of the Dead gain the resistant to magic special rule. So it's not even an actual banner. So
no, it's for intents and purposes an actual pendant rather than a banner. It's half a banner.
So no scoring. Yeah, that's a very good point. No traditional banner bearer. So tough for scoring. I guess the other thing to consider is what are our scenarios? They're going to be determined randomly, aren't they? From the normal 12.
On the day, yeah.
But they're determined random from a shrunken down list of handpicked lists, because as we know, there's some scenarios that don't quite mesh with competitive play properly.
Cool. Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
So they've been filtered out, and it's going to be chosen from a shrunken down list.
Okay, cool.
Before the event.
But I mean, with the banner being a scoring element in so many scenarios, definitely a good point to consider. Pat.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's it. So we've all had that before. We've rocked up to events where banners are important, so we've had to kill them pretty quick. That sort of thing. Right. So just something for players to consider as well.
Well, I think the third list is right up Pat's alley, which is quite convenient.
Elves, yeah, glorious elves. All right, so kicking onto it, we got David Pilkington's list here. So looking at it, some kind of combination of kind of Galadriel and Rivendell, super awesome. So kicking it off, we got Elrond, the man himself, Agent Smith, Master of Rivendell, who is the leader. He is kitted out with... I believe everything but a horse is on foot, so he just has the heavy armor. Yeah, and then so he's obviously leading. We got 9 high elf warriors with bow, and then we have 4 high elf warriors with bow and spear. We also have accompanying him in a different war band are going to be his twin sons, Eladan and Elra here, which I love the models.
Yeah, they're stunning.
And then Yeah, they really are, really are. And then we have beyond that as well. In those, so I'm trying to figure out how the list is put together with the reading. Too many different formats.
Yeah.
So it looks like Eladan. So it looks like the warband together. So we have Eladan has some more high elf warriors with spear and shield, leading 11, and then Elrahir has high elf warriors with spear and shield, leading 9. I think I've read that right.
Yes, I think that makes sense. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's a total of something like 17 or 18 high elf warriors. So obviously they're on horse, but they're with blocks of infantry.
Yep. All right, and then obviously bringing in the Galadrim portion of the list, we have a Galadrim kind of captain, which I love the Galadrim captain, by the way, with heavy armor, bow, elven blade, shield, and he is leading 9 Galadrim knights with shields, and that's the list. Okay.
Yeah, so a big kind of swinging cav block from the Lothlorien, and then essentially a big infantry block, and he's got his archers clustered around Elrond to take note of that special rule, which I won't butcher the Elvish, but yeah, to maximize on those rerolls.
Definitely, and that's pretty brutal. Like I had the honor of facing down a variant list of this last weekend with David Pilkington in command, and my word, it's pretty solid.
So I think straight away, what jumps out to me is the Galadrim Knights. I know when I have conversations with a lot of people about what is the best cavalry in the game, because I love playing cavalry lists. They're my bread and butter. Obviously, Rivendell Knights come up for a lot of people first. I actually really, really rate the Galadrim Knights being the only cavalry in the game that has access to Fleetfoot, so they can navigate
moving through the woods. So
which
useful.
Is so important, and you can really pull a really, really, really good swing with it, especially with a cav block like this. And obviously they're quite a bit cheaper than the Riv Knights as well. I really rate the Galadrim Knights, and I think that's a really, really cool block to include in any kind of army that can go green with them.
Yeah, particularly with the armored horses. They're just such a solid choice, and great because the captain's tough to get shot out from underneath. My only thing is, I probably still would have put Elrond on a horse. I love cav, and I love horses, and even when your hero's sitting in an infantry block, it's still useful to have his ability to have that movement, and you can set up your formation so that his extra base size with infantry isn't a disadvantage. But obviously he can't be supported, but he gets his charge bonus. So it's sort of just depends on your playstyle, I guess.
I think
agreed.
Yeah.
But it's always nice. It is nice, as you say, just to have that hero on a horse anyway. So in a pinch, they can respond to something that may happen.
Absolutely,
as well.
Yeah. Especially with Elrond being your caster, having him in the right position.
And it's just got that old style feel to it. Like if you saw an officer on a horse,
the general on the horse. That's right.
In certain periods of time, you knew this person was important.
Yeah, he feels like the mounted generals in the American Civil War with all the infantry.
That's it. That's it. Like, don't get me wrong. Not that Elrond's not important by any means. It's just like we all know Elrond, but it's got that symbolism to it. That aesthetic to it. Yeah.
One of the things that I'm not sure if I'm reading it wrong or not. With Eladan and Elrahir, I was always under the impression they had to be in the same warband together, and they couldn't lead separate warbands.
Yeah, I think that's true, actually.
Yeah, so you'd always nominate one to be the leader of the warband,
That's
and
correct.
the other would kind of slot into it. So I know here we got Eladan's leading 8 High Elf Warriors with Spear, and Elrahir's leading 9. I'm not 100% sure on that one. Could be the case.
I think you're right. In terms
of
numbers, I think it's still legal. He'll just have to shuffle some warriors into Elrond's warband. Because he's got some space there. He's only got 13, and Elrond's obviously a hero of legends. So he can get 18. So he's all right for numbers. Just the formation.
Yeah. Cool, I think it's an awesome list. Always love elves. Always loved elves. I can't see any banners in the list. Is one thing.
No banners. No banners with elves. Are you fucking insane? Every elf army should have a banner. 1,000 points should have 2 banners. That's a huge point. How did I not see that? Banners.
Awesome list though. I think these are the kind of lists that I love playing myself, and I think it'll definitely perform well. And I think it's a really fun put together list. I think it'll be great. I always love seeing elves ally with other elves as well, because obviously sometimes they can all be cut from the same cloth, but every different faction definitely has their own unique thing they bring, and seeing them come together and just one master elf list is always fun.
Lovely.
Cool. All right. So we'll move on to our next list there. Evan Wright. All right. So Evo's rocking Bard on a horse there in armor. He's also taken Alfred, backed up by Sigrid and Tilda. Now, Wavis. Oh yeah, no, there's some warriors in there too. There's a mix of warriors there. 8 warriors, mix of spear and shield and bow. Now we got Gandalf, the grey version, on horse. He's leading 12 warriors, mix of shield and spear. Percy's there with 12 bowmen. Hilda's accompanying 12 warriors there, mix of spear and shield. And finally we've got Frandwell there. He's got a bit of a contingent with him. Looks like 7 elves, mix of glaives and bows.
Well, Pat, let's we'll defer to your eternal wisdom here as Lord of Lake Town and Thranduil.
This was pretty much the exact army list I was going to bring, and I actually remember having a chat with Evan at the last game day. We played up against each other last at the very end of the day, and we were actually talking about some lists. And I was playing Thranduil's Halls at the time, and we were both talking about this is a list that we both really wanted to play, and I think it's awesome. I think the thing that what you'll find is that lists that can combine together magic with heavy combat heroes in a horde just tick all the right boxes. And I think this is one of the few lists that are still green allies in the game that can actually do this. I think it's an awesome list, really, really, really good. And obviously having Gandalf as this kind of contingent of kind of magic. Thranduil has the circlets. Obviously he has a bit of magic himself he can pull out, which is incredible.
Yeah.
A bit of PTSD there.
Yeah.
Obviously, having 7 of the Merc, so all the Mirkwood elves have the glaives, meaning they can kind of lend the fight 5 all throughout the Lake Town kind of back row. Obviously, Bard can be used as a 6-inch banner across the army, so you have all these dice coming out with this peasant horde suddenly at fight 5. It's a super awesome list. Mine's currently in pieces, and I really want to be looking at playing something similar to this through next year. I think it's really fun, and I haven't seen this list play on tabletop. So I'm really, really curious to see how this actually pans out. The one thing that I was always kind of tossing up myself is trying to find the points to bring Bilbo. So I think Bilbo is such a steal. With the ring, he can really play shenanigans, put 90-point hero into something like the Balrog, and he can really, really grind things out, which I think is like the one thing that this list could look at adding in as well. But then it comes down to what the hell do you take out? Because it's just everything in there is just value at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think some of the strength of that synergy, like you said, the heavy combat hero of Thranduil, the kind of utility of Bard, who's no slouch himself, and then you've got the support of Gandalf. And then the other thing that shouldn't be underestimated is there's a reasonable amount of bows, as any good lake time should have. So you can kind of use that to bring the opponent to you as well. We've got some with the Elven contingent as well. So just all the moving parts of the list operate so well together. I think this is actually, obviously we're at 1,000 points here rather than 750 at Articon, but this is quite similar to some of the build loadouts that Jay Clare won Articon with in 2018. And just relying on the Lake Town Horde combined with those strong elements. It's a really cool list, and I know I've never played it, never seen it. I've never done anything with Lake Town. I just know it to fear it.
Obviously, touching on the very first list we had, the Corsairs and the Arbalesters, I have no doubts that this list would outshoot that. Obviously, not only do you have the bows there, but Gandalf has the blinding light. Yeah. So you just whack in a bubble, and Percy has the reroll to 1s, and you just gunline down, and you just put rows and rows and rows of peasants in front of you, and you can claim to be a good guy all you want, but you have no doubts or no issues sacrificing these cheap point models. And I think it's a really good list, and I really hope I get to play against this list.
Now, how does Alfred work? Because he has like this important might related mechanic, doesn't he? That I can't quite remember.
So pretty much, I think it's after priority is rolled, you can choose to have Alfred spend any number of his 3 points of will. And for every point of will you spend, you roll a d6. If you roll a 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, a Lake Town hero, I think it's within 6 inches, gets a point of might. And
Wow.
This point of might can go above the hero's starting score.
Of course.
If you roll a 1,
That's cool.
if you roll a 1, the hero loses a might.
And
So,
the whole thing is that you
yeah.
can synergize that with Gandalf, can't you, with the will restoration power?
and
which
Bomber
is-
and Bomber does a similar
Yeah,
thing. too.
Totally. Yep. And you can get the
Which
unlimited
is-
might. Yes.
Yeah.
And, so you potentially have, Bard starting the game at 6 points of might, which is really good. And because obviously Evan here is bringing Sigrid and Tilda, he can call a free hero at combat as long as he's within 6 inches of them.
Yep.
So you suddenly have this, 6 might hero calling a free hero at combat every turn, and he just carves through anything.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
It suddenly makes Thranduil look like a bit of a slouch himself.
Wow.
And it's really awesome. I've only played a couple games at low point levels with kind of Lake Town, but 300, 400 points, that kind of combo is just really scary. And I'm sure at bigger points as well, it's going to be awesome to see. Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. Any thoughts, Ev, before we move on to the next one?
I think he might be frozen on us.
Oh, I think we've lost Ev. Oh, no. Ev's thinking. Frozen in time. What is our next list? Greg
Yeah.
Gibson. Oh, look. Evan's gone. It's just me and you
We've
now.
lost him. Okay.
That's okay. Well, I'm still recording. We can just riff while Ev's coming back and rejoining
Perfect.
us. So up next we have Greg Gibson's list, which is another little favorite list of a few of us in the community. I've played against this quite a few times, which is Radagast on Eagle, and then Guahir and 6 Eagles. Now, I don't think I've actually fought 8 Eagles at once, because I've never played this at 1,000 points, but Eagles galore at 800, and even a few extras at 1,000. You want to speak to Raddy's potential combinations with the Eagles, Pat?
He's the best. Ratty is I've played him for years. He's incredible, and obviously with the new versions of the rules come out, he got turned up to 11, which is great. Obviously, Ratty on an Eagle is incredible because you have options to just first turn dismount him off the Eagle, and you suddenly have this Eagle that normally costs 100 points, and suddenly works out being, I think it's 50 points. So you get this really good value mount you can kind of use. And obviously, he has a kind of pseudo Elven Cloak, so taking him off the Eagle turn 1 is not necessarily a bad thing. Obviously, he gives resistance to magic to the Eagles around him as well, which is always good. Suddenly, you just have 8 Eagles charging at you, and it's just very scary to deal with.
Yeah, it can be pretty lethal. I've seen like a lot of games with these Eagles. They can kind of be a glass cannon, which seems weird on paper because like they're Eagles, they're pretty tough. They're 3 wounds, but if they come up against an opponent that doesn't have any problems mincing them, then they can sort of capitulate quite quickly. We had I think it was someone brought them to Arda. I can't quite remember who it was now.
I know.
Yeah, that's right, Hayden. It was
bought the
Hayden.
Eagles. I think there's a couple of Eagle lists running around.
Yeah, and Hayden either dominated or got dominated. There wasn't much of a middle ground for him with the Eagles. Like he came up against an infantry-heavy Easterling list, which he just dominated because the opponent sort of spread wounds across the Eagles, but couldn't manage to eliminate them. And that's the thing. I think you've got to focus fire because once they start to thin out their number, then you can surround them and trap them and get rid of them.
I think the other really important point as well is that the list only has 6 might.
Very
at the end
true.
of the day. And 3 of that might can strike. The other 3 is on Radagast. And where it gets really difficult is if the Eagles get charged, they only have 2 attack space. And it doesn't matter how swole your bird is, if you only have 2 attacks and you're rolling 2 dice, praying for a 6, and it's very easy to get trapped, very easy to get swarmed, and it just kind of comes down to a very dicey game sometimes where, the might's really important. Still, one of my favorite lists to play. It's just super fun, and it looks incredible on a tabletop as well.
Yeah, it's a really, really solid list. There's nothing like 7 Eagles or 8 Eagles just flying across the table at you.
It's very satisfying. Yeah.
All right, so I think Ev is still in the call.
He is.
Except he's just not there.
No, he's not actually. It says 2 of 3 in the call, so I think he's just dipped out.
Oh, here we go. If I hit this call button, I wonder if that will bring him back in. Here we go.
Let's find out.
I'm calling him. All right. Well, what is our list after? Well, speaking of Hayden, we're diving into a bit of Moria, and it says Ever's unavailable. I'm guessing his internet has dropped. So
Yeah.
our next big list is the Belrog, as we kind of were talking about, whether or not we'd see one.
Good.
Yeah, Belrogs are pretty
Yep.
fun, and they're just savage now with the
Yep.
changes in the new edition. He's a fantastically potent fighting force, and then we just have
He's
a
incredible.
horde of goblins. 18 with the Belrog, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 goblin captains with a big mix of goblins. 1 troll in 2 of those warbands, and some prowlers in 1 of the Moria Goblin Captain's warbands. So I don't know what the model count is on that. That's 6, 18.
I'm running some maths, and
Oh,
it
wow.
looks just shy about 70 models.
Yeah, that's a
which is
big horde.
incredible considering you have a Balrog in there as well.
Yeah, that's a lot of points in that Balrog, and yet
Yeah.
still 70 models.
Yeah, obviously he has two trolls in there as well. 2 cave trolls. The cave trolls are brutal.
Yeah, they're pretty savage. The only thing that is sort of missing, I guess, is obviously you got the Bat Swarm, which can synergize quite well with the Trolls and the Balrog, using its halving of fight value, taking out things like Aragorns and those sorts of threats. And I think that the real strength we saw at Arda Unleashed 2019 was Jacob's list when he came second. He really utilized his warband composition super effectively. He had prowlers mixed through his warbands. He had his trolls separated, and he had his bat swarm. And I think you get some really nice utility by mixing up those prowlers rather than having them in like a hitting block, because just having them everywhere is a real pain for the opponent. They're tricksy little things.
Yeah. I
Hey,
think
Ev's back.
Evan, hey, Ev, welcome back.
Sorry, guys.
That's quite okay.
Difficulties there.
No
That's
problem.
okay.
We reviewed 2 lists while you were gone because I'm still
Yeah,
recording.
we're on Hayden's list.
Simplify. Keep moving.
So lots and lots of gobos.
Yeah.
It's savage.
Yeah, I think one thing that I've been having a chat with a few people that kind of play in the community around as well is, do you bring bows with Moria? Hayden's opted not to bring bows.
He's got 4, I think, out of a million, out of a potential like 30.
He has 4.
Yeah.
I don't like bows in Moria, and I know a lot of people I've spoken to recently say that you have to bring bows because obviously you have so many models, you can bring so many in, and I think there's a lot of merit there. But I think just swarming is just where Moria kind of needs to be. I think.
I think it's all about playstyle. The thing is, if you've got bows, that means you've got archers who are sitting still or half moving, and that's rarely how Moria can be effectively utilized on the table. Like the Balrog and the Fearless Bubble or the Balrog, it's literally just get that swarm at the enemy as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Get your cave trolls and your bat swarms and your Balrogs surrounded by a big cluster of gobos so they can combine with the prowlers and just mince. And there's often not a lot of utility for archers.
And I mean, obviously you have 8 points of might that you can use to call heroic marches as well. That's a lot.
That's true, because goblins are what? Are goblins move 4 or move 5?
Move 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, he has 8 points of might he can be using for marching. He has no strike in the list, so I'm pretty sure he's just going to be popping a march every single turn and just hauling ass up the board, which is a terrifying thought. The one thing that stands out to me is opting not to bring any of the named Moria heroes.
Yeah, no Groblog, no Durbars.
Yeah. Could just be lack of the models. Obviously, Groblog is a bit of a elusive one.
Yeah.
But obviously, curious to kind of find out if it's just because I just want to double down on the captains and the swarm, which I love, or was it for a different kind of reason in there?
I can't remember if Groblog has access to March.
I don't think he does, but he does have Strike.
Oh, true.
And so does Durbs as well.
In the end, speaking to Hayden, I think if memory serves, he was going for more of a horde, so that's why he went for just basic captains.
Yeah, and I mean, it gives them an extra kind of 4 or 5 goblins, which doesn't sound like a lot, but an extra 4 or 5 goblins can be what you need to tie up a hero for 1 extra turn in combat.
Yeah, that's true. They both have Strike, but neither of them have March, so maybe he did just want to max out on the horde and max out on that heroic march.
Yeah.
Well, happy to
That'll
see a
be-
Balrog. Happy to see a Balrog.
yeah. All right, so I guess we're gonna hop on to the next one.
Well. Look what we've got here. So speaking
Still
of
loading myself.
the named goblins, here we've got Jacob
And
Wright's
Moria.
list, which is more
Ah.
Moria. We have Moria. Growblog, 3 prowlers, 5 gobos with shield, 4 with spear. A captain, 3 prowlers, 5 gobos with shield, and 4 with spear. A captain, 3 prowlers, 3 with shield, 4 with spear. Then we've got a shaman, and this warband gets interesting. A dweller in the dark, a bat swarm, a prowler, a shield, and a spear. And then a cave drake, a bat swarm, 2 prowlers, a shield, and a spear. And then Druzarg, the beast caller, 10 spiders and 2 spears. This is... I never
love
see
this
this
list.
list.
I
It's
love this
pretty
list so
cool.
much. I think
Yeah.
this is awesome.
There's 3 units in there, and I cannot decide which one of those 3 I like the most.
Yeah, no Balrog, which is obviously the
It
huge
just-
takeaway. Moria with no Balrog, very rare these days.
Mm.
I just can't decide which of those last 3 warbands I like the most.
Oh, they're very
They're
cool.
just- they're just
Spiders.
cool.
The
100%
spiders are very cool. We were just talking
yeah.
in Hayden's list about the utility of mixing your prowlers through your units, and I think Jacob, having seen the other Jacob's list from Arda, has done exactly that, because Jacob again ran Moria at Arda. Jacob Wright, I'm talking about, and he had a Balrog. Obviously, he's decided his Balrog didn't perform. He's cut him out and maxed out on lots of extra goodies like a Drake, Druzarg, the Beastcaller, and spiders. Whew, crikey.
The cave drakes are incredible. I think they are really underrated following the kind of revisions to their rules. They picked up some really good stuff. They can lead warbands now.
Yeah,
That's
as
awesome.
we're seeing. Yeah.
I think they're just really well-rounded models. I just can't pull my eyes away from the 10 times spider.
It's
That's
pretty
terrifying.
incredible. Do they
especially
still
with-
have survival instinct, like the dragons do? No, they don't.
Yeah, so
Ooh.
the dragon's got a lot of love.
Yeah. Well, that's quite, because survival instinct is obviously where if the model takes a wound and they fail a courage test, then they just fly away, which is a great reason that dragons aren't really that competitive. But the cave drake doesn't have that, so it has staying power, which the dragon doesn't. So it's not quite doesn't have the high kind of damage output of the dragon, but it can stay around a lot more. And it's still strength 7, 4 attacks, 6 wounds, fight 6, heroic strength. So only the 1 point of might, but it's definitely a solid unit, and it has the new gaping maw, what's it called, brutal power attack.
Yes, which is awesome.
Yeah, just crunching, swallowing people whole. Basically trying to auto kill people as much as possible.
Yeah, I think the one thing that does kind of jump out at me though is no drums. No drums. I've always been a pretty big believer. If you don't take the Balrog, you take the drums because it gives you courage and it reduces the enemy courage. And obviously, he's got quite a bit of terror from the Dweller, the spiders. I think there's some other stuff in there as well. And obviously, having that in there is always going to be good. But in saying that, it does only amplify the goblins. And looking at his list, a sizable portion of his points aren't in the goblins. They're in monsters and creatures. So
That's very true.
I can totally understand why he didn't, why he opted not to bring it. I'm not sure what if I were to try to cut some stuff out for the drum or not.
Yeah, I guess honestly, I think for me, it would
Yeah.
probably be worth just dropping some goblins because I like the heavy hitting elements. But straight away, if I'm looking at this list, I'm just going to break it and ignore all of the hard hitting stuff because the goblins are such low courage. Once it's corded, everything goes. Without the once it's broken, everything will just go with no drums and no Balrog. So that's a fair point.
Because even the heroes have low courage too, so they'll
Exactly.
they'll just scarper once all the followers.
And not a lot of will points either. Only 3 will on the cave drake, and he is courage 4, which is all right. But one bad roll, burn your will to save it. Another bad roll, cave drake's gone. So it's
The shaman hero that he has. Do you guys know if it's the Black Shield shaman or
so that's the
Goblin shaman?
the actual
There's
he's
two
got
different
the
ones,
beast
isn't there?
caller and a normal shaman. So the 45 point shaman, that is the Moria Goblin shaman, which is the Black Shield variant.
Yeah.
So the one with Spicy Fury, and that's it could be either actually. They're the same cost.
It's a dicey one. See, I actually really like the Black Shield Shaman that gets access to Shatter, which I think is pretty cool.
Oh no,
But
sorry.
I'm
It is
curious.
the normal one. They're 5 points different.
Ah,
So
yeah.
he's got Fury,
Mm.
and
Which will help
Transfix.
with this courage.
That will
yeah.
help him with his courage. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. On a 3+ too. So he has got
Yeah.
a protection. Good work, Jacob.
Well done, well done.
All right, Ev. What do we got
All right.
next?
Yeah, I'll take this one. I actually love this list.
Oh, this is the best.
This one is so cool. James Duncan. I've not had the privilege of meeting James yet, but
That's actually Sam.
certainly. Is
yeah,
it?
yeah. That's Sam. That's Sam's Facebook alias, which is
Yes.
now unmasked to all of the community.
He goes by a few names. Yeah.
Yeah, right. No, because I saw the name. I'm thinking I don't know this person.
No, we know
But-
James
yeah.
/ Sam.
No, well, I'm pretty. If it's who I'm thinking of, I know Sam. So that's good. Cool. All right. So, mate, Fellowship with a bit of Rivendell. All right. So, usual suspects. We got Frodo, Sam, Merry, Pip, Gandalf, Aragorn, Gimli, Legolas, Boromir, and Glorfindel.
Our additional Fellowship member for the
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah.
And why not? He's a boss.
What could have been? Yeah.
The honorary Fellowship member.
Yeah, exactly. What could have been? That's so true. Bloody, it should be. So he should have dropped one of Merry and Pippin, the Elven Lord. I mean, the Fellowship is huge, and it's still a Green Alliance with Rivendell, so you still get all the awesome army bonuses. Yeah, this is going to be so much fun. 25 might, and unbreakable if Frodo's alive.
He is very good at using might.
Yeah.
And also props for the theme, because if memory serves, it was actually Glorfindel that took them to Rivendell.
Correct. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Obviously before the formation of the full Fellowship, but But yeah, in the books it's Glorfindel who meets them, and not Arwen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love it.
Love it. Just all heroes, mate.
And he's got a little bit of horse action as well, so it's not completely uncompetitive. In fact, the new Fellowship list is amazing. So
Right up there.
horse
Yeah.
with Boromir, horse with Gandalf, and the only one he hasn't got a horse on is Aragorn. But can the Strider option actually take a horse? I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure he can.
Yeah.
I think the Legolas
think he can
also be able to.
I think the Strider variant can also take Bill the Pony in the new one, can't it?
Yes, he could have taken Bill the Pony, but perhaps he doesn't have the model because it is bloody impossible to find. So yeah, the Aragorn can take a horse, and so actually, yeah, everyone can take a horse. The only person who can't, of course, is the Hobbits and Gimli.
I know Sam, and I know he would sooner give up his entire list and have to drop Merry and Pippin to free up the points for 2 extra horses.
Exactly.
So I know he's yeah. So he's definitely very set on it. He has the Anduril on Aragorn, which is going to be huge, especially in this kind of list. You just have so many threats looking around. You got Boromir with 6 might. You got Glorfindel fight 7. You got Aragorn with Anduril. Where do you even start? It's a terrifying list to kind of see against the table from you, and obviously he has the ring on Frodo as well. So those big models, they can really be taken down by this lonely little hobbit. I think it's a great list.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it hit up against some hard stuff, and it's interesting to sort of see the meta starting to take shape as we see what all the lists that we've got available to us. So lots of goodies to keep unfolding and examining.
Absolutely. Loving it.
All right, who's next?
So next we got Jeremy Knight. Another Moria list. Just quickly on that note, while I was going through the list, I put together some graphs, and the most common realm is actually Moria. That we're gonna be seeing.
Fascinating.
So
Yeah. And a bit of variation as well between the Moria lists. It's not the same Balrog
It's not
bubble.
cookie cutter.
Yeah. Which we can
no
see
cookie
here,
cutters
where
here.
we're changing back to a Balrog list.
Absolutely. Mold's broken and spice it up, but we still have some traditional feel, and this list is one of them.
All right.
Whose turn
I think
is
it's me. Sorry, I'm sitting here awaiting, and it's my turn to read. So we've got the Balrog, and he's got a nice little batch of Moria goblins there, as well as a bat swarm filling out his warband. Our second warband is Groblog with a big chunk of Moria goblins, maxing out his 12 cap. We've got a Moria goblin captain, Schnag the Spartan, all these captains are named, which is awesome. And he's got a full contingent of warriors, another Moria goblin captain, Bolgrat the Red Shield, and he has a full contingent of warriors and a Dweller in the Dark, our second Dweller for the tournament. So much for them being never chosen uncompetitive models. People are putting their faith in them. And then we've got one more Moria Goblin Captain, which is Sharkmuz the Silver Shield, and he's also got a Dweller in the Dark as well as a horde of Goblin Warriors. So no Prowlers, no Cave Trolls, but we've got 2 Dwellers, a Bat Swarm, and then just a whole lot of Gobbos.
It works. I think it's great. I think obviously he has a Balrog, he's got the Goblins, he's got the Bat Swarms, no Prowlers, interestingly enough. But I mean, I think everything else looks.
It could just be a model availability thing too. They are tricky enough.
They've been, I think they've been out of stock for a little while now as well.
Yeah.
He did take a few bows. I can see. I think
true.
Is it just 5?
Or
do all the warbands have bows?
Bows, yeah, it looks like it's just that second warband. So yeah, he's just got the 5 bows. Potentially, if he's got a couple of guys sitting back on objectives, at least they're able to still take part in the game. Maybe that's his motivation.
I had a really good game against the Moria player. Unfortunately, I can't actually remember who it was. It was a few years ago. I was playing Thranduil, and what happened was I kept trying to get Thranduil into some goblins to heroic combat and get some chains going off. And what the player did, he used his bows and just shot to combat with hopes of killing his own goblin.
Absolutely.
And I think that's probably the best reason I think why you would take bows on Moria. And I think looking at Aragons and all these huge energy heroes,
yeah, that's actually a serious consideration. That's very true. Cool. All right. Well, more Moria. Good work, guys. Loving a bit of Moria action. So much. It was a bit of an unplayed faction for a while, but it's getting some love in the new edition. That takes us into Justin's list. I think
he finally makes an appearance. The Sauron himself.
Dark Lord.
Dark Lord. Yeah. So you got Dark Lord Sauron leading 12 Orc Riders with shields, 6 with throwing spears, and 12 Mordor Orcs. We got 4 with shields, 4 with spears, 3 with 2-handed weapons, and then 1 only banner.
Finally, a banner. My God.
I know.
What's that?
All the banner's been hiding.
8 lists in or something. Good work, Justin.
All right, and Warband 2, we got a Orc Shaman with 6 Black Numenorians. Warband 3, we got the Mordor Troll Chieftain leading 12 Mordor Orcs, 4 shield, 4 spear, 2 2-handed weapons, and 2 Orc bows. We also have Orc Taskmaster, 12 Orc Trackers. So we got 58 models.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, obviously we've got Sauron, so Sauron is Sauron. He's fantastic. Still managed to keep his horde model count relatively high, which is obviously really important for Mordor's army bonus. Because one, you've got Sauron there. He takes up a big chunk of the points, so still want to be able to keep active. The thing I find interesting, we know Justin loves his Orc Trackers. He never takes Mordor without them. Some people are like anti-bows with Mordor. But he loves them. But he's got the Taskmaster leading that warband, which is interesting. So he, depending on his deployment, perhaps he'll move his Taskmaster back into the rest of the shield line while the trackers do their thing, so he can have more of an impact with the other heroes.
Definitely. I think what's also really interesting to see is the 12 Warg Riders. I think one of the things that the kind of Mordor, the Barad-dûr list does kind of lack a little bit is you move as fast as Sauron moves at the end of the day. He kind of goes wherever he pleases, and your army just kind of follows him behind him.
Totally.
Having the War Riders in there, suddenly open him up for being able to score objectives, reliably, which is great. And obviously they have throwing weapons. They can obviously kind of dance around and still be useful as they kind of skirt around. I think that's really good to kind of see. The Black Numenorians are awesome, especially, kind of causing terror themselves.
Get a bit more terror.
Sauron there. Just gives you a nice kind of front line with it.
Yeah, it's so handy when you've got numbers to have enemies failing those courage tests and having little Black Numenorians dotted through, and then the Wargs as a flanking pressure too. Yeah,
I think obviously the Mordor Troll Chieftain is such a terrifying model to deal with as well. So I think it's great to see on there. I think it's a pretty well put together list. I mean, I couldn't really think of what else I'd kind of want to see in there in place of it. I'm curious to see how the Orc Shaman performs. I haven't really played against many Shamans this edition. I haven't really seen a lot of them, but we've seen quite a few pop in the list already.
Kardush gets a lot of play, but not the kind of... Obviously, I don't think he's available in this list. He's only available without Sauron, because you can't combine them because of timelines. But I rarely see the normal Orc Shaman either.
So I've just got it open here. So
Fury.
Sphere is always nice. Yeah, Fury and Transfix. Great spells to have.
Handy stuff. Handy stuff.
Yeah. Any other comments?
I'm curious to see how this one plays out because I love Justin's playstyle. I love his playstyle as a player, and you know, because I can't play in my own event, you still get curious and write down list variants of what you would take in Fury, just so you feel that you're involved. And this is very similar to one of the Mordor variants I came up with, so I'll be following it with great interest.
Awesome.
Very
All right,
nice.
I think that takes us into Lachie. You want to run us through your list?
It does indeed. Now, my oh, here we go. Dropbox is kind of fun when working with Excel, but we've got this working now. So I'm running the Riders of Theoden Legendary Legion, super elite, super low model count. I've got like 23 models or something. I think it's not a lot, and it's all about that hard hitting hero power. So we've got 9 heroes in this list, starting with Theoden, Aomer, Dernhelm, which is of course the new combination profile of Merry and Eowyn. We've got Gamling, Captain of Rohan, Elfhelm, Daelwyn, another new profile from Gondor at War, and then for the first time in my life, I'm taking generic Rohan captains. This is a hugely themey list for me. It's all kind of developed around the Knights of Theoden's household as he charges across the field of the Pelennor towards Suladen to take on the Red Knights and has a big epic duel that results in Suladen and his boys getting absolutely slaughtered. So it's pure Royal Guard and very low model count with lots of high heroes. It's essentially just my 800 point from BrizCon, and I don't have a lot of time to paint, so I've just added 2 Rohan captains to fill it out, just to make it easier for me to paint. So in terms of our configuration, I've got 5 Royal Guard with Theoden, including 1 Royal Guard with Banner. I've got 2 Royal Guard with Aomer, 2 Royal Guard with Daelwyn, 2 Royal Guard with Gamling, 2 Royal Guard with Elfhelm, and then Dernhelm will also deploy in Elfhelm's warband. And then I've got 1 Royal Guard with one of the captains and 2 Royal Guard with one of the captains. Basically just spreading my contingent so in case of any of those Maelstrom of Battle deployments, no heroes are on their own, and I can always use the Royal Guard to shield those heroes from arbalesters and snipes and all of that sort of thing. So yeah, 24 points of might, 24 units. Should be fun.
You're on that ride or die train.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, first thing that comes out to mind is that you had the same amount of might in the list on Sam's Fellowship list, which is pretty impressive for you to kind of see in a.
It's good fun.
You know,
I'd love to get a matchup against the Fellowship.
I think it's a great list. I always prefer, kind of low model counts that give you a lot of power in individual units and kind of how you come down to kind of positioning them and using them. I think you played the list a lot. You get a lot of practice with it.
That's true.
It'll be good to kind of see what you can kind of pull out with 1,000 points. Really keen to see how the captains go. I think
be interesting.
Having March, you don't feel necessarily bad using the might for March. It'd be definitely interesting to kind of see how they go and perform.
Yeah, the thing that's like so awesome about the captains is, of course, is they get so much more utility with Gamling's Banner. In the last game at BrizCon, which was 800 points, I was playing against Dan, and over the course of that game, Gamling's Banner, which allows you to regenerate points of might when heroes are on 0, starting within 3 inches, over the course of that game, I regenerated 17 points of might, which means I think over the course of the total game, I spent something like 38, because I think that list had 17 base, which is just insane. And of course, the captains are just low, cheap heroes. You can burn their points to get the heroic marches. So by the time you're hitting the combat line, they're on 0 and they're regenerating their might straight away. And you're not having to waste Theoden's might or Aomer's might for heroic move roll-offs, and you're allowing them to do a big initial burn. The other thing, of course, is because they're heroes, they trigger as part of the death special rule, which is everyone within 12 inches of Theoden gets to call a free heroic combat or heroic strike for 1 turn. So that's now 9 heroes who will just all be calling heroic combats or strikes for free because it's just maxing out more and more. It's really cool. It's really fun. The Royal Guard are basically just there to be a shield to stop my heroes from getting shot and then to take part in heroic combat slingshots when we get to the fight phase. So it should be very fun and themey to play, but it's usually pretty competitive as well.
So how do you feel seeing all these lists with the Balrog in it? You feeling confident with it, or are you
Yeah,
feeling a bit sketch?
Obviously the main problem with Rohan, no fight 6 in the army. You always have to strike up. So, Aragorns and Glorfindels and things, they can be dealt with because they're not so big that they're a massive problem, but Saurons and Balrogs and dragons and Smaugs, they're another thing, and they're certainly going to be very interesting. With the Balrog, you just have to make a choice. Am I engaging the Balrog or am I not? Am I just ignoring him and engaging the rest of the army, playing the objectives and breaking the opponent? So it's all about just weighing that up against the objectives and against the particular opponent. But I seriously doubt there'll be many times I choose to engage because it will just mince me. Cool.
Fantastic.
Definitely insightful. Yeah.
Let me just get Dropbox loading now that it wants to fight against Excel. Here we go. Back to a PDF. This is better. Thanks, Luke.
All right. I think this one's you, Evan.
Alrighty. Well, I'll quickly knock. I'll read Luke's list out. I've just noticed there's actually one list missing from that list, so I'll knock that one out too, because I know exactly what that person's taking. So it's going to be very quick. So Luke Kronk. Alrighty. So Iron Hills dwarfs. Hell yeah. Okay. So we got Dane himself riding a pig, of course. Artillery. We got some ballista. A single ballista in there. Goat captain. Iron Hills chariot. Chariot with a captain in it. That's cool. 5 goat riders, 6 crossbows for the pew pew. A banner. We have another banner.
Yay!
Hooray! 14 dwarves, spear and shield kit, and 3 mattock.
Jesus Christ, that is not a lot of models at 1,000 points, but welcome to Iron Hills. You've got all the big toys.
Yeah, the ballista and the chariot.
Yeah,
Oof.
yeah, in the same list. It's not often you see it.
Well, two chariots. There's one chariot and one chariot hero.
Yes, I think the captain is the add-on to the chariot. Is that correct?
I think so.
So I think it's still a single chariot, but now a chariot with might points.
Oh, hang on. Yeah, I see.
Which is proper crazy. So I mean, he's got everything that Iron Hills should have. He's got the chariot. He's got the ballista. He's got some goats. He's got obviously the big man himself, Dane, on pig. He's got a banner and he's got a shield wall. So yeah, solid. They're a great army. They're really competitive. They look gorgeous on the table, but should be very solid indeed.
Indeed,
Yeah.
hard to crack and just punchy.
Yeah,
Very.
Awesome. So next list, Greg Gibson. As I say, for some reason, I don't know why it's not in Dropbox, but anyhow, Greg's list is very easy. He's Radagast on an eagle, Guahir, and 4 eagles.
very nice indeed.
Very cool.
I
think we ran through an identical list to that.
Oh no, I
it
think
may be-
this is Greg's list. It is here, Evan. It's just up a little bit,
It is?
a little bit above. Yeah, so Raddy on eagle,
cool.
and then Guahir and 6 eagles at 1,000 points.
True. Yeah, not a worry.
Yeah, cool. No, that's right. We did that one without you.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Oh, never mind then.
Cool. All right. Well, that takes us into Mark Tribe. Mark is one of the Toowoomba boys who I met at the Battle Company's tournament recently. He's a good lad, and he's bringing some Gondor action in Warband number 1. He's got Aragorn mounted, Aragorn the King Alessa with 6 knights, and then 4 warriors of Minas Tirith with spear and shield. In his second warband, he's got Baragond with 6 warriors with bow. Warband 3 is Boromir with a collection of Osgiliath veterans, Citadel Guard, and warriors. And then he's got Faramir leading a contingent of rangers, a mounted captain with a shield, and a warrior with banner, and then a block of infantry. Now, the other thing that's interesting is this list is I think it will be a red alliance, because you can't take Aragorn, King Alessa, and Boromir, Captain of the White Tower, in the same list as a green alliance.
I'm scrolling through my PDF right now.
Yeah, so he's obviously chosen to lose the army bonus in favor of having the power of Boromir and Aragorn together.
Which is not necessarily a bad thing.
No, it's a choice you can make if you're not worried about the theme. And honestly, for Mark, I think it's probably just these are the 1,000 points of models I have because he's a newer player. So he's probably just cramming everything he can to get into 1,000 points. But they're great units, and Minas Tirith is solid. Shield wall. He's got some Citadel Guard for flavour, some Osgiliath veterans for flavour, and some knights as well.
I also
Yeah, I
can't
think-
see anything. Sorry, in the book about them going red alliance. I think it's actually still green.
Oh,
Unless I'm just blind.
I think it's in the very start of the list under special rules. Unless I'm just completely inventing this in my head.
Give it a flick, because I can't see any of that
Yeah.
myself, which I actually wasn't aware of that myself, which is actually really cool to kind of see, because, I love the what if Boromir survived stories. She was probably one of my favorite characters in the book and movies. So, I love seeing Boromir in a Gondor list, and normally he is overshadowed by Big Daddy Elisar, but, it's great to kind of see Boromir in there. I think he's an awesome profile, and he really does work.
He is a really powerful profile. Yeah, you might be right. I swear that was a thing, but it looks like I may have invented that. So yes, let's move on. Perhaps
Oh,
it is
well,
green.
Plus
Well,
one
that's
courage for the army.
Yeah.
That's even better. Awesome. Good work. Good work.
I think it's a fun list. Yeah, he's got cavalry in there. He's got a ton of might. Aragon's regenerating might. He's got bows. He's got a banner. He's got rangers. I think it's pretty well put together. It's got a nice little mixture of everything in there. Definitely not lacking in any kind of areas.
I know where it is. It's in the FAQ. That's why.
Okay.
It was added in as the FAQ. That they did the same thing to Rivendell with Glorfindel and someone, and I'm pretty sure I'll check it, but I think it is a thing, and I think I haven't invented it, and
It makes sense.
We'll have a look.
Yeah.
And then we have Ori, and he's
Owlman, Ori Smith.
bringing Azog's
Oh.
Legion. Which is just like impressive that you've managed to put together 1,000 points of Gundabad, because that army's so goddamn expensive. So he's got Azog with the White Warg, heavy armor, and a stone flail, opting for the flail kit. 6 Gundabad berserkers, and then a collection of warriors with spears and shields and a banner. Or he doesn't leave his banners at home. He's got Bolg on Fell Warg with another set of 6 Gundabad berserkers, 6 warriors, an ogre, and a warbat. And then he's brought his lovely, beloved goblin mercenaries, led by a goblin mercenary captain. So we're looking at 42 units, which is, I'd say, a middling range of size compared to some of our really elite forces and then our big hordes. So he's obviously breaking at 22 casualties. And he's got an ogre in there, but no Gundabad troll. So he's gone for the 2 twins, Azog and Bolg, instead, and then went for some goblin mercenaries, which has been dying to field. So, not surprised.
Yeah.
Well, Bolg and Azog are pretty much better than trolls.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
pretty,
No,
pretty serious.
Oh dear.
Yeah, you can set up some big pincer action. You can use one as an anvil and the other to crash onto it. They're pretty spicy.
Especially when Bolg's Warg takes up half the width of the board. It's just so long. You just put it on its side, you take up an entire back row of 6.
Oh, is it on a custom base?
No, it's on a unique size one. It's like a ellipse oval.
Yeah,
it's
right,
very
right.
long and very
Yeah.
thin. It's such an odd size, and I've never understood why that's the case. But I think it's actually one of the reasons why Bolg is so good, because he takes up so much space on the board, and you can. I think you are able to get 3 across if you hit spears in the back.
That is so cool.
With the length of his base, like rather than 2, and it really adds an extra kind of element to him. I think it's a great list. Obviously, I think Azog is probably going to be like the MVP unit in the entire game day. I have no doubt Azog's going to kill, a Balrog in 2 turns. He's going to kill Sauron. He's going to kill everything that comes near him. What do you do? I think this is his kind of domain to play around with. I think it's a great list. I love the Warbats. I love the Ogres. I played a bit of Gundabad myself. The Goblin Mercenary Captains are incredible. They're really, really, really good units. It doesn't look like a lot of models on paper, but Azog is just going to be turned up to 11, I think, in this game day.
Yeah,
1,000
so much
points,
utility.
so many heroes, and he just hunts them all down.
Yeah, he's pretty lethal. It's funny, like a lot of heroes can lose their impact on the game as the games get bigger because there's like more stuff to sort of combat them, but Azog is sort of like a flip to that he's just got more targets. He's just
he is a headhunter.
Just give me more parts of your army I can execute, please.
Yeah.
He's savage. Looking forward to seeing that one, Ori.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Oh, now.
We'll let Pat review this next list.
Yeah. All right. So I am running a White Council and Rivendell list together. So in Warband 1, I got Warband 1, I have Elrond, Master of Rivendell with heavy armor and a horse, and I have Radagast the Brown, my all-time favorite, in the sled with Sebastian, my second all-time favorite. So that is the White Council kind of warband. We have Warband 2, we have Lindia on a horse with heavy armor, leading 10 Rivendell Knights with shield, and 1 Rivendell Knight with a shield and banner. And the last warband I have is the twins, Eladan and Elro here, both with horses, bows, and armor, leading 2 Rivendell Knights with shield and 1 lonely high elf warrior with a bow. So the gist I kind of wanted to put together for this kind of game day is low model count, everything mounted, super fast, playing very skirmishy. What I was kind of worried coming into this game day is that magic was going to be so prevalent at 1,000 points. So I wanted to keep the White Council element into there. So obviously they give each other +1 to resist casting rolls. So Elrond and Radagast, they're within proximity of each other. And obviously Lindia gives a bubble of resistance to magic to Rivendell units as well.
Yeah, certainly a very good chunk of anti-magic elements there, but it's
I've only seen one magic.
Not so much.
There's a few shamans.
That's true.
I'll deal with them, okay?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I went through a few different iterations of the list of dropping Lindy and bringing like Gwahia, just because again I love the model so much. Kind of just bringing him there to kind of support with Ratty as well. But ultimately, I kind of wanted to keep the army bonuses green, just because the White Council army bonus I think is just so good.
Yeah, I also think the power of Radagast like slinging around with the sled can also have a bit of the same impact that Gwahi would have anyway. So you're sort of getting like the best of both worlds with this composition. I think it's a great force. Riv Knights are awesome.
And obviously, you're going to have the knockdown off Elrond. Lindia gives him a free point of might a turn while in proximity, and then obviously Ratty has the sled, so he gets a free point of might, so the free point of will, and it's just
double nature.
Try to buff things down. I got sub 20 models, so I have to be very kind of careful with it. I'm trying to make sure I knock them down so they can't strike back. I'm going to see how it goes, I guess.
I guess the other thing before we bail on you is Eladan and Elro here, of course, can be a useful little contingent in them. I
think the big thing with this kind of list is Lindia has single point of might, Radagast has 3, Elrond has 3. Elrond somehow has to square up against Balrogs. He needs his might to strike. Radagast needs his might to call moves. Lindia doesn't really have any kind of might, so I don't have a lot of might options available to me. And obviously Eladan and Elo here bring 6 might together, and it just allows me to kind of, be a little bit less at the mercy of the dice, call the heroic moves when I need to, get the strikes where I need to, and obviously having 2 bodies, it's an extra model of my army, which I need.
True. They both have heroic strike?
Yes.
Yeah, yep. Cool. Perfect. Very nice. Cool. Looking forward to seeing it on the table, dude.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, so next list is Reese Richards. Okay, now this one's pretty cool because it's an alliance. It's Numenor and Rivendell.
Lovely.
All right. Yeah. So first warband. There we got King Elendil on horse. He's leading some warriors of Numenor there. We have a banner, fantastic. Spears, shields, mix of those. Then we've got a captain on a horse. He's leading warriors of Numenor too. Mixed bags, spears, shields, bows. Rivendell contingent there. Gil-galad. 12 Kingsguard and 6 Rivendell Knights. And Gil-galad himself is also mounted, so it's a nice hard-hitting cavalry unit there.
Very, very nice. Yeah, one of the Kiwi guys in New Zealand and their league loves running these lists and often doesn't put Elendil and the captains on horse because no one was on horse in the battle. So it's nice to see that Reese has gone for the more competitive option and he's put his bloody heroes on horses. Tom and I constantly have that battle, but yeah, it's a great synergy. I mean, these lists were like built to work together. So Elendil and Gil-galad are just like beautiful counterpoints to each other, and obviously with no cav in the Numenor element, chucking in some Riv Knights and that captain on horse is certainly handy.
Yeah, full Last Alliance themed.
Yeah, I just really can't stress enough how scary Elendil, and Gilgalad.
Yeah,
They
they're
are
savage.
monsters. Yeah.
Yeah, you just put them next
Really
to each
good.
other, use the free heroic combats from Elendil, and you've got Fight 9 just flinging around the battlefield.
Yeah.
I've killed Sauron 3 times using that exact combination. They're lethal together.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
savage. Lovely
You know
work,
what's cool
Reese.
about this list before we move on is the actual layout of the list itself. Have a go at that list. Like
Yes.
he's got his army list on page 1. On page 2, he's got all of his rules broken down, and page 3, he's got a breakdown of his force.
Very
How
nice,
cool
yeah.
is that?
Very
That is-
beautiful.
That is just
Organized.
Good,
Organized.
So-
good work,
that's
Reese.
it.
He's
That's
all
it.
over it.
he's sorted, mate. That's cool. That's cool. I just wanted to highlight that.
All right, up next we've got Sam Lucas, who's running an expanded version of his Ardor Unleashed 2019 list. And he had some pretty decent success coming up against some tough opponents. He was up in the kind of higher chunk of the pool, particularly at the start of the day, and had some really good matches. I particularly remember his match against Tom Ward doing Gondor on Gondor. And
Civil
it was...
War.
Yeah, particularly as
Yeah.
like a brand new player, he was playing really well. So let's see what he's got and what he's added. He's got Boromir, Captain of the White Tower, on banner with horse and shield. And he's got a big block of 10 knights and then a couple of rangers in there as well to max out that warband. Then he's got his brother, Faramir, who I don't believe he brought at Arda, who's mounted with lance, and he's leading some Osgiliath veterans, obviously going to still have Faramir on the horse for that extra killing power, because Faramir's a bit useless on foot, but then potentially acting in that synergy bubble with the Osgiliath veterans. And then he's got a Knight of the White Tower, who we don't see on the table all that often, but can be pretty useful. And he's got 12 warriors of Minas Tirith with spear and shield and another banner in there as well. So we've got another player who's taking 2 banners at 1,000 points. Big tick. Well done. Good work, Sam. The twins, the brothers, Faramir and Boromir. Big horses, big lances, some infantry, some knights. Good mix. Just not a lot of bows. Only 4 from the vets and 4 from the rangers, which sometimes you don't see in Gondor. No, with the Avenger Bolt Thrower and Ranger spam we've seen a bit lately.
The 2 points that come to mind, kind of echoing off what you said, obviously, I think it's a really fun list, having Boromir and Faramir together. Love it. Awesome. No lance on Boromir, even though he is mounted, is an interesting thing inside there.
Can he take a
sure,
lance and the banner? He can.
I'm pretty sure he can, yeah. I'm not 100% sure on that one, but I got a feeling he can. Other thing is, again, I think the Bolt Thrower would have been really, really, really good.
Yes.
Yeah. What jumps out immediately is obviously the little title he's given the army, the Defenders of the Citadel of the Stars.
True.
Defenders love Bolt Throwers.
Yeah.
I think honestly though, even without Bolt Thrower, I think having the Knight of the White Tower in there is an awesome model and looks really cool. The rules are really fun as well, and I think it's really well put together list. I think it'd be fun to kind of play against.
Yeah, he's got that the Blade Lord skill, isn't it? So whenever he rolls a natural 6, he doesn't apply his two-handed weapon penalty, which kind of essentially makes him burly if he rolls a 6 on the winning roll. And with 2 attacks, like that's going to happen relatively frequently. But he's also got Heroic Strike with 2 might.
Yeah.
And with a Fight 5 hero, he's against someone like my army with Rohan, with Fight 5 maxed everywhere. I'm having to strike to get up above that. He can use that Heroic Strike to suck out points of might from those middling heroes. So yeah, the White Tower, and of course, he can kill things with the White Sword of Gondor.
Yeah.
So
and obviously, having Boromir with the banner as well, the +1 to fight is really, really, really good. And it does get a bit better as well, worth noting with the Osgiliath veterans. They also get the +1 to fight while within 6 inches of Boromir and Faramir. That does compound with
stack,
Boromir's
doesn't it?
banner.
So
So he does get the Fight 5 veterans, which is actually pretty scary.
Yeah, that's true. And also that banner
And
helps.
2 banners.
Yeah, the 2 banners helping with that high fight value and synergizing with the Knight of the White Tower, getting those better rerolls to try and get that 6 to get the burly bonus. So yeah, it's gonna be cool. Cool to see on the table.
Yep.
Okay, whose turn is it?
I think it's yours, Ev, for Sam Smith.
Wonderful. Sweet,
Jump into
fantastic. All right, Sammy Smith. Okay, so we got Minas Tirith up. Army led by King Elisar on Armored Horse, of course. Then we've got Gandalf on Shadowfax there. Now he's accompanied by 6 Citadel Guard. Then we've got Captain Faramir of Gondor. He's leading the Osgiliath veterans with a mixed bag of bow, shield, and spears. Captain Madril, he's leading the Rangers So we got six of those rangers, mix of spears, and we have a humble captain here. He's rocking around with more warriors, minister of spears, shields, babana, and a warhorn. Hey. And finally, Damrod on his lonesome.
Yeah, so a good spread of units. My kind of first thought would be is that something that this list might really benefit from is Huron being able, because his kind of synergy to work with Aragorn, he's such an incredible profile. So I probably would have considered just dropping that captain and maybe Damrod to take Huron as well, but that could also be a model accessibility. Obviously, it's one of the new Forge Word sculpts. I don't think Sammy's got him, actually, off the top of my head. So perhaps not, but just because... Yeah, with Gandalf and Aragorn, Huron synergizes so well with his kind of extra special rules and the way that he gets buffed by protecting the king and protecting the leader of the army. But yeah, he's got a nice mix of Osgiliath veterans in there, again trying to synergize with Faramir, but it is a very low model count army. He's got like as many Gondor heroes as he can jam in, basically.
Yeah, I know leading up to Arda at the beginning of the year, the person that I had a lot of practice playing against was Tom Ward. We probably played about a game a week for about a month or two leading up to it, and he had a list very similar to this with Gandalf the White and King Elisar with it. And it's a very difficult combination to get past both of them, because obviously, you stare down at King Elisar, you hit him with magic. Gandalf protects him. And it's just very difficult to find a way to outfight him, and there's a lot of elements to it. And Tom's army was very low model count as well, but he really made it work and really put distance between larger forces.
Yeah, I think Tom was the only person at Arda to actually kill one of the three Balrogs. He played.
I think he was.
He played a game against
Yeah.
Jacob, and he used Gandalf and Aragorn to kill the Balrog. He still ended up losing that game because he had to spend so many resources killing the Balrog that he lost a bit of battlefield control, and also had some horrendous luck against against Jacob in that game, which proved pretty pivotal in deciding who went to the final a bit later in the day. But yeah, it's definitely low model count Minas Tirith with Aragorn and Gandalf can certainly work.
Absolutely.
I think I'll read out this next list. So we got Sebastian Simon. Looks like we got the East Marchers. All right. So we got Kumul on a Fell Beast. Already off to a great start.
Nice.
Leading 5 Eastling warriors with shield, 9 Eastling warriors with shield, pike, and the Black Dragon upgrade.
Good choice.
1 Eastling warrior with a banner. So an awesome choice.
Yep.
We got Warband 2 Amdur with his horse. Leading 5 Eastling warriors with shield and 10 Eastling warriors with pike and Black Dragon upgrade again. Warband 3, we got Eastling Dragon Knight on a horse, leading 2 Eastling warriors with a Black Dragon upgrade with shields. And we have Green Allied and Khand. We've got a Khandish King with the chariot and the bow as well. I'm not sure if it comes with the bow. Leading 6 Khandish horsemen and 2 Khandish charioteers.
Yeah, this is like the perfect Easterling Khand list at 1,000 points.
Yeah.
This list kicks ass. You've got there's kind of two ways to lean in with this alliance. I'm working on a Khand Easterling list myself, where I'm going the opposite direction to this, which is of course all because I'm playing all mounted. But then you can also go the pike block option. So he's got his great Easterling kind of anvil, and then the big hammer of the Khandish King on a chariot, 2 Khandish charioteers, and a couple of Khandish horsemen, which can be really lethal with their axes on the charge, as well as hanging around for objective capture, and just marching forward with his wraith as well, with the Fell Beast. This is going to be sweet. I can't wait to see Seb wielding this. This is a cool list. Black Dragon in the right spots. He's got banners in the right spots. A little bit of magic as well. Is this our first wraith?
It is
so.
actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that an indication of the new edition? Isn't that interesting? Very
refreshing change.
Every second army used to be 3 ring wraiths, so this is very cool.
One thing that does jump out at me: no war drums. I think one of the biggest thing Eastlings have access to is the cataphracts. I think they're incredible. Heavy armed cav, shock cavalry are great. My cavalry bias coming through. And the ability to take war drums, I think, would be really nice, especially with the kind of Khandish low defense contingent in there as well.
Yeah, it might have been worth sort of thinning his block a little bit just to give the Black Dragon a couple of cataphracts with him rather than those Easterlings on foot, and then giving one of those a war drum so that they can sound the drums where needed and also act as a little bit of a unit to move with the Black Dragon and do some heroic combat slingshots. But
obviously, you do dive out of the model count a little bit to get to that point, and the model count 44 so far.
That's true.
Into that kind of middle range at the moment, so I can definitely understand the reasons for not doing it.
Yeah, fair call.
But yeah, I think this would be a great list to kind of play against. I haven't played much against Khan, but they're an awesome looking army aesthetically.
Just you wait till 2020, bro.
So
Man,
I got 15 horses and 3 chariots to go.
Lots of Radagast. All right. Yeah.
I'm tearing up because I sold my Khan before the new this edition dropped, and I'm just like, get back in my lives.
Yeah.
It's like, what did I do that
Never
for?
sell anything. That's what I do, and now I have 70 armies downstairs.
That's always been my guns. Is never sell your stuff, shelve it. But so good. But
all right, the final list. Ev, do you want to read out Timtronic's wonderful little Isengard horde?
I certainly will. I love this because it's Isengard.
Yeah.
So we've got the two men themselves, Saruman and Grimmar. Saruman's on foot and Grimmar is mounted. Cool, interesting. Now we've got a series of warriors there. Pikes and shield for phalanx, of course. There is a cheeky banner thrown in there. There's
lovely.
Two berserkers. I imagine he's going to put them on the wing because that is cool as. Now moving down to our scout regiment here, we have alerts on point, taking a series of scouts with mixed equipment there. Shields, pikes. Oh, that is a mixed unit. That is a well and truly mixed unit because there's also some warriors with pikes thrown in there, a lonely berserker, and a single warg rider. I like. That's quite cheeky. That is really cheeky. I love it. I think I know what's going on there. Now we've also got warband number 3. We've got Vrashy there, backed up by, as always, his band of merry men, the all reliable crossbowmen. And as here we are, number 4, Fried and Wolfsbane himself, 3 Dunderling warriors, 5 Arakai pikemen, and another cheeky wild rider.
Yeah, cool. So interesting little compositional choices.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah,
I love this. There's a lot going on there. Now, let's break this down. Now, I'm sure Tim will correct me if I'm wrong. But those wild riders have been thrown in there just for a bit of cheeky reinforcements to respond to any situations where the combat's not going so well. They'll be in reserve to ninja in and do the counter-charging to knock them down while the phalanx reforms. You got Vrashku there as always. They're just going to shoot stuff and stuff's going to die. Fried and Wolfsbane, never actually used him properly. I've come up against him many times. Hard-hitting hero hunter. Very good at taking out captains.
What's really interesting is that he's not mounted.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. I'm just seeing if 85 points is without a mount and if that's just left out. I think that is his base cost, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's the... Yeah, you're right. And that's a curious point. That is a very curious point because...
If he is going head hunting, kind of going hero killing, I think the mount really adds.
So he is 85 points base, so that is Thryden without a horse. Yeah, I would have had Thryden on a horse. I mean, look, I'm always going to advocate for horses, but potentially Saruman as well, just so that he could have been mobile.
Extra cost range.
Yeah, I love Grima on horse. That is awesome.
I hate him. I hate playing against him.
Yeah.
Because I always play low model count.
He's such a pain in the ass for armies like us.
Infuriating to play against. Yeah. But yeah, he's a really good addition. You can really play mind games with the opponent. I always love seeing him. Just not seeing him against the table for me.
Yeah.
Or on my side of the table, rather.
Yeah.
Yeah, strong list indeed. It's interesting the way he's got some of these compositions with he's got a bit of scout action, he's got a bit of warriors, he's got a bit of berserker. Lurtz has obviously got the strength that he kind of lacked in the last edition. But the main problem for me with kind of Isengard in general is that they don't have an Aragorn, they don't have a Boromir or a Balrog or a Sauron. They don't have a really big unit. They have to rely on the synergy of the Horde, and if you don't play it perfectly right, it's an easy weakness for opponent to exploit. So Tim will have to be on the front foot with his formations and make sure he can take out those big targets with Saruman. He'll be a linchpin.
That's it. It's a challenge I know all too well. You can either go horribly right or horribly wrong. You got to be switched on the whole time. I love this composition though, because it's going to have a lot of people on the back foot. They're going to be looking at going, "What? This isn't a
What does
traditional
that one do?
phalanx.
Is that a
Yeah, this isn't a traditional phalanx. This wasn't in the movie."
It will look very different on the table.
It'll look very different.
Good little psychological perk for him.
That's it, psychological warfare, brother. It's going to throw a lot of people out, and but I do like it though. I do like this list.
I think that was our final list.
It was indeed. Or our final submitted list, anyway.
That is our final submitted list. There is one person who has contacted me. Bernie Marshall is returning to the scene.
Yes, I was messaging Bernie last week, which is cool.
Yeah, he is yet to submit a list, but we've been talking, and he will have that in very soon. On that note, too, if anyone knows of anyone who's sitting on the fence, push them off onto the side that's going.
Yeah.
You know, pull them over to our side, and just cheeky last minute submission. Throw yourself in. Cool. Let's get these numbers up.
Yeah, well, I think we're sitting on 20 at the moment, and we all know what the Queensland community's like. Everyone books their tickets the week before, so I'm still pretty confident that we're going to eclipse BrizCon, which was 38. So let's try and hit 40. I reckon we'll get there.
There was a reason why there was none of us Queenslanders down at Masters. We tried to book our tickets last minute, and all the plane flights were gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's just it. So I'm keen as for some Masters. That's definitely going to happen.
Yeah, I'll be definitely heading down in
next
2020
year,
when I don't have a baby about to appear.
That's it.
I think the list overall, I think they're great. We got a lot of low model count lists coming through, a lot of like hero and elite lists. We got all mounted hero Rohan, we got Fellowship, we got the Rivendell White Council, we got a lot of good Horde lists as well.
It's a lovely spread.
Kind of mid-rangey. It is. I was hoping to see a bit more magic myself.
Yeah, there's like no magic. What do we got? Like a couple of Gandalfs and a Khamul?
Few Shamans.
And an Isengard.
Yeah.
And a Saruman.
Yeah.
That's it.
One
Wraith in the whole tournament.
Well, but you know why it is? You know why it is? Because we've lost... Well, Matt Hollis isn't coming, and he's Wraith King.
Yeah.
Bloody... Dave Pilkington chose to run good instead of evil.
Yeah.
So same thing. So just a few of our regular suspects unfortunately can't make it. But I'm hoping that for those who are still listening to us at this point, that we still get a few cheeky last minute entrants. And
2 hours in or something. If you're listening at this point, well done. Well done indeed.
Props to you. Props to you. But yeah.
Fantastic. Anything else we need to say before we wrap up, Ev?
Yeah, just as I say, call your cousins. Let's fill this hall. Fill the hall because it's a great venue. A lot of good food. It's air-conned. Great tables, man. A lot of prizes and titles up for grabs too.
Yeah, there's a lot of really great event support that you've put together. Yeah. We've been seeing those posts, and there's a lot of stuff for players to get excited about on the day. So I definitely think we'll get a late rush on attendance. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, well, I'll certainly still be pushing it on our page because it's fantastic. There's going to be some fantastic stuff there. It's going to be a great time. Cool. So just a future event spotlight. Pat, December.
Yeah, so it'll be first weekend of December. Date's still pending. It's probably going to be the first Sunday. We're going to be doing Yuletide Annual Bash. It's going to be a doubles tournament. Points not decided just yet. Either going to be at 800 or 1,000, so 400 or 500 each.
Nice.
Going to do some really, really janky custom scenarios where you really got to work with your partner and really kind of get into the minds of synergy. I think last year we had some pretty cool scenarios come through. Dates on that will be kind of coming out over the next kind of month or two. That'll be most likely first weekend of December, though.
the great thing about the Yuletide tournament each year, our Christmas tournament, is it's essentially like the league final, but it is like the 5th or 6th event in the calendar. So everyone will have got enough scores to register a tournament, well, for most players anyway, but it's like that last chance to either play like really themey because we're sort of forced to by the tournament, but also playing really hard as well. So it's going to be very fun.
It'll be
But
great
we'll-
because I'm sure if we look at kind of who's in kind of top 5, top 10 positions, it's a fairly kind of like circle of friends there. So a lot of them last year did actually double up together, and if you have first and second
Very
place double
true.
up together, they're probably not going to want to do that. They probably want to go against their friends and against their normal doubles partners
Very
to try and score some
true.
points at the end. I think it's going to
Yeah.
be really fun. I think we're going to see some really good kind of mixes coming through of who you'd normally take to a doubles kind of tournament with versus what we're going to be looking at kind of seeing going forward.
Man, that's
So I have
an
a few
awesome
people-
thought. I hadn't even considered
Yeah.
how the doubles partnerships will
So-
affect the league scores. Very
Yeah.
true.
I'd thought about it, and that's why I think it's just going to be still solid fun.
Yeah,
Across
yeah,
the board,
exactly.
'cause it's going to be like, who's going to do what?
Yeah.
What number crunching strategy are they going to play, or are they just going to throw it out the window?
Yeah, it should be very cool indeed.
No, it's always a great time, and just fun as.
Yeah.
I've got to find a partner for that one there, Pat. So I will have a partner for that one.
Obviously, between now and then, we also have another tournament as well as part of this schedule, which hasn't been officially announced, but that's going to be a Good Evil tournament run by Daniel Jones. We'll have more dates of that coming out. And there's also another small Battle Companies event that's going to be run at Mount Gravatt, Warhammer, which will be another low league points event, a 70-pointer, obviously representing the fun and narrative aspect. And it's definitely not worth the competitive rigor of something like Ardor or our 1,000-point GT. But it's still a good scrap that you can earn a few cheeky points if you just need to because you've missed a few games and that sort of thing. But somehow I'm in third at the moment on the league table, but that's only because I've been to 3 events and most people have
I've only
been
gone to 2.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about the first one that came through, the first the Battle Companies, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I'm sure my place will drop down very soon after my... Oh, technically I've hosted one and then played one, and my BrizCon was not a fun time at 14th or something. So I'll resume back to the mid rankings after the next tournament, after this 1,000 point, unless I can go well. We'll see how we go.
We'll see.
With a brand new baby on my mind or in my arms, it probably won't be particularly effective combat for me, but we should have a ball. And then, of course, we've got the next season starting next year with Ardor Unleashed 2020, which is shaping up to be really exciting. We've got Kiwi players who have booked their flights. We've got Western Australians, Victorians, and New South Welshmen who have all registered and are in the process of planning flights and accommodation and stuff. So it's going to be huge.
It's going to be great. It's going to be amazing. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Fingers
Let's
crossed.
make it good. Plus, we got all the regular show turning up to that one too. So
Yeah, it's going to be good fun.
full house.
We need some
man,
Queensland
full house.
representation to fight off all these internationals that are coming to claim the crown. Jacob got way too close last year. That can't happen again.
That's it.
Cool.
Gotta maintain it. So it's all very exciting times. So much going on. So much stuff yet to come. Another quick one for me. Hashtag war is coming. For those of you who have been to it in the past. Community Willing will relaunch that one in 2020 just as a standalone
Lovely.
event. We'll see how we can, if we can. We've got a bit of a powwow about this. We'll see if we can work it into the league somehow, if we can.
Cool.
But otherwise, it's going to be predominantly, war as it was years ago.
War as
but
in
with
War of the
more-
Ring for those who are at home.
No. Just like it was High Point
Yeah,
teams.
Oh,
High
right.
Point teams. High Point teams.
That's right. Yeah. My bad.
High Point teams. So team are good, team are evil. Matched. Cool.
Very cool.
Um, Our regular show will remember how it went and the structure of it. But it's also going to be predominantly a showcase to that event where pretty much same sort of focus as the GT, where there's a lot of hobby titles and such. Same element thrown in there, so it's going to be a bit more spicy there, a bit more. Yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to make sense once the pack's drafted, and again, community willing, we'll make that happen.
Lovely. Cool.
Awesome.
Well, thanks for inviting me on, Ev, and lovely to chat to you, Pat.
It's a pleasure to be here.
No
Always good
worries.
fun.
That's it. Thanks for coming on,
Very
guys.
easy.
Appreciate it. It's always
Cheers,
nice
guys.
it's always nice to have some good gaming minds as well to bounce off reviews and stuff. Otherwise, it's just me waffling on for an hour.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Oh mate. All right. Well, good catching up with you guys, and
Yeah.
yeah. So,
See you at the game day.
Yeah. See you at the game day.
Yeah. All right. Cheers, guys.
All right.
Cool. All right. So I
Yeah.
will export, save this, and just. Do you want me to just upload it to this same Dropbox folder?
Yeah, sure. That should be fine.
Can you just?
No,
Can I? I don't know if I can. Do you want to? You might have to like
Just a
invite me to link or something.
quick one. This
Right.
wasn't a this wasn't a league scoring one, was it?
Yeah, this is a league scoring tournament.
Yeah,
It is.
Yeah.
yeah.
I thought it wasn't. God damn it. Okay, all good.
Dumbass. Look, you got to look
Yeah.
at the list.
No, I was like Strandwell's Hall. So I started seeing the list, and I'm like, maybe. Oh god, no.
What's up?
Yeah, definitely league scoring.
No,
Yeah.
I'll chuck
you
it up.
can
No,
shake
no.
the list if you
I'm,
want.
I'll
I'm
chuck it up
logged in.
on my Dropbox, Ev, and then I'll my internet will upload it pretty sweet, and then I'll send you a link.
Cool. And
Cool.
I'll bounce that.
Oh, I should
I'll
stop.
bounce that one up tonight.
Should also stop recording now, so that